They say a quiet house can hide the loudest truths. That night, as rain tapped the roof like a warning, I opened a door I was never meant to open. What I saw didn't just change my job, it shattered everything I thought I knew about kindness, loyalty, and love. I was hired to clean a house that looked like perfection. White marble floors, gold frames on family portraits, the scent of roses clinging to every hallway. But perfection has a way of feeling cold, like it's covering something too fragile to touch. My name is Elena. I was 38, divorced, and desperate for work. The mansion on Willow Heights became my second home, or rather, the place where I hid from everything I'd lost. Mr. and Mrs. Carver owned the estate. He was a businessman, quiet, sharp, the kind of man who smiled with his mouth but not his eyes. She was gracious, soft-spoken, and carried the sadness of someone who'd once loved too deeply. They had a son, Noah, 21, a college student who came home only on weekends. At first, I thought they were the perfect family. I polished their silver, arranged their flowers, and listened to their laughter echo through the walls. But over time, I noticed the silence between their words, the way Mrs. Carver's hands trembled when her husband entered the room, the way Noah avoided eye contact at dinner. Still, I told myself it wasn't my business. A housekeeper's duty ends at the edge of the truth. Until that night. It was a stormy Thursday, one of those nights when thunder feels like it's chasing something. The Carvers had gone out for an event, leaving me to finish the laundry and lock up. I was humming softly when I heard it, a soft cry, almost like someone whispering through the walls. At first, I thought it was the wind. But then I heard a voice broken, pleading. "Please, don't hide it again." The sound came from the basement. The one place I was never allowed to enter. My heart pounded. My first instinct was to walk away. But curiosity, or maybe compassion, led me down those narrow stairs. The air grew colder, the smell of damp earth and old secrets wrapping around me. And then I saw it, a locked trunk, half covered with a blanket, shaking slightly as if something inside it was alive. I froze. The words from the thumbnail, "It's huge. Let me take care of it." That's what slipped from my mouth, a startled gasp as I saw what lay beneath the blanket. It wasn't something monstrous. It was a portrait, massive and haunting, of a woman who looked exactly like Mrs. Carver, only younger. But here's what chilled me. Across the woman's face, in thick strokes of black paint, someone had written one word: forgive. The next morning, the house was quiet. I wanted to ask about the painting, but fear clung to my throat. Days passed. The Carvers acted normal, too normal. Until Noah cornered me in the kitchen one evening. "You went to the basement, didn't you?" I froze. His voice was calm, but his eyes were heavy with pain. "You weren't supposed to see that," he said. "But maybe it's time someone did." He led me back to the basement, turned on the light, and showed me something I never expected. Rows of canvases, all of Mrs. Carver, painted at different ages, all with that same word scrawled over them. "She doesn't remember painting these," he whispered. "She doesn't remember anything about that night." That night? He told me everything. Years ago, Mrs. Carver had been in an accident. She lost a baby she never told anyone about, not even her husband. The guilt had swallowed her whole. The art therapy had been her way to grieve, but each painting she made, she destroyed, then painted again, trying to rewrite the past. The word forgive wasn't for anyone else. It was for herself. But Mr. Carver, he couldn't stand the reminders. He locked the paintings away, buried the truth, and told everyone she'd moved on. That was the secret. And somehow I was the one who'd unearthed it. In the weeks that followed, Mrs. Carver began to open up to me. She'd sit by the window while I dusted and tell me fragments of memories, how the baby would have been 5 by now, how she sometimes felt tiny feet in her dreams. Sometimes she'd look at me and whisper, "Do you think we can be forgiven for what we forget?" I never knew how to answer. I was just the housekeeper after all. But her pain stirred something inside me, my own buried shame. You see, I'd lost someone too. My daughter, Grace. Not to death, but to distance. When my marriage fell apart, she chose to live with her father. We stopped speaking. I told myself she was fine. But maybe I'd locked away my own basement of grief too. One evening, as the sun dipped low, I found Mrs. Carver standing in front of the trunk again. "I want to open it," she said softly. "But I can't do it alone." So we did it together. Inside were baby clothes, a small stuffed bear, and a letter addressed to my little one. Her hands shook as she read it. Tears ran silently down her face. "He never knew," she whispered. "I thought I could protect him by hiding the truth, but I only built walls." That's when Mr. Carver entered the room. He saw the open trunk and froze. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then his expression softened in a way I'd never seen. "You didn't lose her alone," he said. "I was there too." He reached for her hand, and something inside the room shifted. The weight lifted, not gone, but shared. From that night on, everything changed. The house no longer felt haunted. The laughter that returned was fragile but real. And for the first time in years, I called my daughter. We talked for hours. Cried, apologized, and promised to start again. It turned out that working in that house didn't just earn me a paycheck, it gave me a second chance at healing. Sometimes, life places us in other people's stories so we can finally understand our own. I was just a housekeeper, but that night revealed a hidden secret, not just theirs, but mine too. If you've ever carried a secret you thought you'd take to your grave, remember this. Truth doesn't destroy, it releases. Speech balloon, tell me in the comments what part of this story touched your heart the most. And if you believe in forgiveness, in second chances, and in the quiet power of truth. Backhand index pointing right, subscribe to at Woman Stories 8 and stay till the end of every story. Because the next one might just remind you of your hidden secret.